Over the ridge the sky is fair, the perils of the journey past, good friends and loved ones waiting there, and now he knows he's home at last.
Thank you, Kathy. Very nice. Very talented man, and a lovely tribute to him. Thank you for sharing them with us. So, we have just a few announcements today. And before I get into the announcements, I want to say thank you to Dave and Cheryl for coming up with an idea that we would have a celebratory bell. And thanks to Larry's kids and Joseph supervising. Larry, you probably supervised too.
No.
Okay. No thanks to Larry.
No thanks.
But we have a bell that we will mount, and this is to celebrate, for the congregation to celebrate when good things happen to them. Dave was inspired because he became cancer-free. Yay! And Cheryl completed radiation. Yay! And Alexa and Skylar, they had a little baby, but we don't see him yet. Maybe he'll come later. And so there's lots of good things.
You got a new dog.
I'm not necessarily ready to. But, you know, new job, new relationship, maybe the end of a relationship, who knows? But we're looking for a place to put this, and we will make it so whenever good things happen, we want you to come and ring that bell. So now we can get into the announcements. It is Pride Month. We continue to celebrate with our LGBT, whatever. There's so many. When I first came in, it was LG. And now we've added the whole alphabet. But anyway, so we are very happy. The cannon, as you know, was defaced, and now the community has come together and repainted it back to its original, so we are pleased to celebrate the continuation of Pride Month. Next Sunday, we have a big Sunday. We're going to have a potluck and bingo. I have a sign-up sheet that some of you have signed up for, and some of you have said what you want to bring. You don't have to be specific, but a lot of people say something. If you are more specific on that, whether it's a main dish, side dish, anything like that, just so we have kind of an idea, I'm going to ask you to just kind of fill this out. So we'll be having a potluck after service. I'll let you start this, John. And so then we will be playing some bingo afterwards. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, we are asking you, this is a fundraiser for the church. So we are asking you to bring a dish to share. It can be anything. The center will be providing the plates and the silverware and that kind of, and glasses and all that sort of stuff, ice. But we are going to also take a love offering for that, because as I said, it is a fundraiser for the church. And with the bingo, I know we'll have cash prizes for that. And Larry is kind of in charge of what the cost is.
Yeah, we had a great time doing bingo last time. So I made a suggestion on here. $15 gets you your potluck and 3 bingo tickets, cards, and you'll get to play that for 5 games. There'll be a winner every game, and then there'll be a jackpot game as well. So then after the 5 games, you can purchase more cards if you'd like for $3 a piece. So it's a lot of fun. We have a good time.
We had a ball last night.
Yeah, we did. So please bring some friends. They love to eat too and play bingo. So let's get a crowd in here to play.
Let's do it. All right. What else do we have for announcements? Oh, we have Rescuing the Bible. Renee was doing that in the center here and also on Zoom. People were not coming to the center, so she has decided to do it only on Zoom. So you can check our Facebook page and tune into that Rescuing the Bible. People are really, really liking it. It's an interesting book. And so I encourage you to do that. But we will not be having it in person here at the center. Reverend Lissa is continuing with her Bloom Revolution. For those of you who do not know Reverend Lissa, that she is a minister who is awaiting ordination, and we have been sponsoring her and mentoring her for the 3 years waiting for her to get ordained. So we hope that she might be with us next week. We don't know for sure, but she is doing Bloom Revolution, which is all about you are a seed of potentiality, and so you just want to bloom into your magnificence. That also is on Zoom. So do that. What is that?
Art walk.
Art walk. Oh, art walk. For you artsy, craftsy people and people that really like to get out on a Friday night, we are looking for a volunteer to work a table at Artwork. The next one is July 8th, Friday night, from 6 to 9. And we will be having, for those of you who remember, we had those blue bracelets that said life is good, and then the Mobile Center of Spiritual Living. And we'll get some pamphlets and handouts. So any of you who really like to be out and about and want to go to the art walk, this is a perfect opportunity for you to be a participant and support the church and get people out there and have them know who we are. And as far as another volunteer position, our books in the library are really out of order. And so we would like them segmented into traditional science of mind books and then by author. And so we kind of know what's going on in there. That is our lending library, so people can certainly borrow any book that they want from that book library. Just bring it back, we appreciate that, but it would be helpful if people knew what they were looking for and where to find it. So if you'd like to be a volunteer, we certainly would welcome your service in that. Our friend Janet Connell has written another book, Bits and Pieces. I know people who read, this is more Bits and Pieces, and I know people who read Bits and Pieces really love the other one. She has a scientific background, and so she takes some of our philosophies and correlates it with science, so it's a real interesting read, and we offer you the opportunity to purchase that. John is going to be doing the 7 Vibrations of Well-Being starting Sundays in August, and I will say that John was very diligent and sent me his outline for that, and I have not studied that as yet. I just got it this morning real early. So John, when are you planning on starting?
It was about the next to last weekend in July.
Okay.
I'm doing one per month, and I'm going to alternate the YouTubes
Okay.
with it.
Okay, so we'll still continue those YouTubes, and then we will also, the 7 Vibrations, because that's going to take you probably at least 5 or so.
No, I think I'm going to do it in 3.
Alrighty then.
That's what I'm looking at.
Clipping right along, so I can't wait for that. That'll be really, really
The
good.
first one will probably be the easiest, because those are the first vibrations, not the highest.
Okay, all right, so we look forward to that, and we'll get more information, and we'll have flyers on that, so, and YouTube stuff. Oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. We're having another fundraiser for the church where starting on the 10th of July, which is a Sunday, we will take a collection of people who want to participate in a group lottery event. And then I will go to Mississippi, buy lottery tickets for the Powerball or Mega Millions, whatever one is bigger that week. And then I will bring them back. Any winnings that come from that, the church will take 50% of that. And all of those who have bought tickets, the rest of the other 50% will be divided up between those of you who have tickets. And depending on how many tickets you bought, that's how many pieces of the winnings you'll get. So I'm very excited for that. I did go to Mississippi this week myself, and so I need us to buy more tickets. Obviously, I did not do a good job, but for myself. Okay, and Legally Blonde, Larry, you take it on that.
Well, we open on July 14th at the Pack Theater, so Kandace was thinking maybe you guys could get a group to come together maybe the last Sunday, which would be the 31st at 2 p.m. But the show runs on Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays at 7:30, and then Sundays at 2. So you can go on the PAC website, thepacmobile.com, order your tickets if you can't make a group decision. But we'd love to have a group there. It's a great show. Caden's in it as well, as long as with myself and some very talented people from around the community. It is a very fun, fast-paced show, so I think you will laugh and you'll just have a great time.
I think we'd enjoy it, and I think it would work out perfectly with John's workshop.
Yep.
Because you would do that, we'd finish up around 1-ish or so, and then off we go.
Well, actually, it might be, well, yeah, it would be during that time period, yes.
Yeah, so that would be good. All right, and Marguerite just told me right before service that she is having a
swimming party
kind of-
today.
yeah.
Just spontaneous, just if you want to come over, I'll give you my address. It's just such a beautiful day out. I thought I'd
It is a
like,
beautiful day, and it's a
company
day
to
that
share.
one needs to be in the water. So
it's just right, perfect.
get with Marguerite for her address. And so I guess that's all the announcements I have, but that was a lot. Anyone have anything that I forgot? Okay. All right.
As we get ready for our lesson this morning, we're going to do a short in-service meditation. But first, we will recite the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Let's take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. Breathe in one more time.
It's 10:50 a.m. Hope you're having a good weekend.
Exhale. And go within and listen. Another deep breath in. And exhale. And take your time returning.
Henry David Thoreau wrote, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you've imagined. With that in mind, let's turn our attention inward as we claim I dare to live my vision. I know that God is all there is, and it hears my word and always says yes. I am one with it. I set my attention to radiate the gift of life that I am. I open my heart and my mind. I release anything that has restricted my experience of what I envision. Everything is possible to me as I take charge of my thought and keep a sharp watch on my word. As I think and as I speak, so it is. The power of my word produces my experience, and it is up to me to move forward and to experience life in all of its unlimited facets. I am ready to explore. I am ready to listen. I am awake, aware, and alive to God's loving presence in my moment-to-moment adventure. I live in the now, because now is what life is all about. I know through the power of my belief that I move forward and experience all the goodness that my thoughts manifest. I am filled with excitement and joy as I open myself to being all that I imagine. I give thanks for all that is available to me, and I know that the power within, God, does the work. I say thank you. I release my word, knowing it is done. And together we all say, and so it is.
Kathy did a wonderful tribute to her father, so now it's my turn. I had such a wonderful father. When I first heard this song, I thought of him because he was just an incredible man that loved everybody, that shared everybody. So I hope you had a father like mine, but if you didn't, I've been happy to share mine with you because I shared mine with the world. He was a wonderful man. So just listen to the words, and I just want to thank him for being a great role model. Take away the melody, take away the songs I sing, take away all the lights and all the songs let me write. Just a man I am today. Say the words you need to say. Let them see you in me. Let them hear you when I speak. Let them feel you when I sing. Let them see you. Let them see you in me. Who am I without your praise? Another smile, another face, another breath, a grain of sand, passing quickly through your hand. I give my life an offering. Take it all, take everything. Let them see you in me. Let them hear you when I speak. Let them feel you when I sing. Let them see you. Let them see you in me. With every breath I breathe, I sing a simple melody, but I pray that they'll hear more than a song in me. Let them see you in me. Let them hear you when I speak. Let them feel you when I sing. Let them see you. Oh, let them see you in me. Let them hear you when I speak. Let them feel you when I sing. Let them see you. Let them see you in me. Let them see you. Let them see you in me.
Well, again, this is a big weekend. Father's Day and Flag Day and Pride Month. June 19th, Juneteenth. So, in the study of truth, we believe that God is everywhere present, and there is an ever availability of good. This is really the foundation, I think, of the science of mind teaching. God is everywhere present, and there is an ever availability of good. Now, in the science of mind, it is also true, and we teach that life is a state of consciousness. That you are, you have, you do, and you experience in accordance with your consciousness. Because the principle is, as within, so without. So unless we change our state of consciousness, nothing else can change. And why do I say that? Because we always get the conditions that belong to our consciousness. Now you can try through willpower to drag something to you, something that does not belong to you, but when you get it, you can only keep it for a short time. Because the moment that you take your hands off of it, the moment you take that energy and all that it takes to keep that there, it just goes away. It's like poof, it disappears. So this is why we must have the consciousness before we have the thing. And see, people often have that reversed. They want to have the thing first and then say, well, then I'll build the consciousness. Oh yeah, that's it. When I have the thing, when I have the thing, then I can create the consciousness around that. And it's like, oh, dear Blanche, that's not how it works. You have to create the consciousness first before you have the thing, or the person, or the experience. So all of that time where we're trying to work on outer things and leaving our consciousness unchanged, really, if you think about it, no permanent good can come to you or to me from that. Now in the Bible, let's just go to the Bible for a minute, because when they talk about like the valley in the Bible, that almost always stands for trouble. It stands for limitation. It stands for error belief. So like Moses though, each of us, we have to go up the mountain We have to rise in consciousness and be open to a greater spiritual truth. Why? Because that greater spiritual truth will allow us to become more free. See, it's not necessary for us to get caught up in the lower vibrations of the world. We don't need to be easily offended, to be angry and incensed. We don't need to be mean or disrespectful or bitter. You know, because really the thing about that is it doesn't add one iota to us. That's not going to increase our consciousness or make our life better in any way. See, God, Spirit, means for all of life to be noble and creative and joyous. For every one of us, I believe. Now, what you associate yourself with is what you're bringing forward into your own consciousness. What you associate in your arena, what you have in your arena, that's what you're bringing forward into your consciousness. And now, yeah, the Science of Mind teaching, you know, we love the books that Ernest Holmes wrote and the other New Thought authors, and we read those books, and we take classes or we go to conferences and workshops, and eventually, though, we start to do our own spiritual practice. And this is where life really, really starts to change for us. That's where we're going to see our life really, really take change, when we start to do our own spiritual practice. We meditate, we pray, and we study, but after we do all that work, after we take classes, and you know, when we're meditating and praying and we're reading the books, it's all about our life. That's actually the laboratory where you put all of this that we're learning and talking about, where we put that into practice. Once we do the groundwork, we have to bring it into the beingness of our life. And what I mean by your life is that your everyday existence, the people who are there with you, the experiences that we're having, the things that we're learning, and the places that we're growing. You know, for many of us, this past couple of years have probably been the strangest and the most unusual years of our existence, at least so far. I mean, yeah, COVID for sure, you know, reproductive rights for sure, climate responsibility for sure, responsible gun laws for sure. It just goes on and on and on. And it's, you know, we've been used to a life of, well, it seems to me anyway, we've been used to a life of enormous freedom. And now we're being asked to kind of pull back and take stock and to think of the greater good for everyone. And I would say also that the first thing about that is that I love that we're thinking about the greater good for everyone. And I know that there's disagreement about what that is out there, you know, but I know in that disagreement, something is trying to emerge, something of a higher level for everyone. And I think it's really important. We know that to just think of ourselves in the way that we want to do things, you know, like that old saying, no man is an island. And if we're just thinking about ourselves and what's good for me, that's not really a very conscious way to approach things. Even though secretly I like it, if everybody is the same way as I am sometimes, but, you know, it's not real conscious that way. And we know and we teach that there are many paths to God. I get that. We celebrate that. There are many paths home. And Science of Mind is one path. We're not claiming it's the only path, but it's one path. It's a real path. And we want this teaching to really, really get into us. We want to embody this so that we cannot help but to just naturally experience a shift in consciousness, a shift for the higher. Now, every one of us knows, I believe, that there's more to life than the normal, everyday consciousness. We all know that, don't we? I mean, it seems like everyone knows that. We know that there's a little bit more than this, or maybe a lot more than this. And so searching for that, searching for the more, I think comes from a very, very deep place within us. It comes from a place of spirit. It comes from a place of God. So I think it's really important when things are going well, when things are really going well in our life, that we take notice. We might say, notice what? Well, notice. What have we been thinking? What have we been doing? What kind of spiritual practice have we been engaging in? What conversations have I been in? And what have I been participating in? What have I been watching on TV or on the computer? What have I been filling my mind with? What are the books I've been reading? When things are going well, we have to pay attention. And see, people always want to get, when things are bad, they want to get in and just kind of muck up the stuff. They want to get in and rake around and just muck it up and just, fine grind it and just examine it to the hilt. And really, it's just as important to investigate when things are going well. What am I doing? Because that's the consciousness that we want to keep perpetuating. And the thing is, success leaves clues. And so if my life is going well, I must be doing something or some things that are in accordance with spiritual principle. And if things are not going so well, I must be in some way not paying attention to spiritual principles, to not be really working in the most intelligent way with those principles. So ask yourself, when have I felt happy? When have I felt joyous and free? Because I think that we've all had times, we've all had incredible times where we've just been super, super happy, where we were joyous, when we felt such freedom and no restraint. So what was going on right then? What was going on when it went right? What was going on? See, this is really what we have to ask ourselves. When anything and something and everything goes right, what was going on? Now, I think in the Western part of the world, we tend to focus more on what's going wrong. And we love to get in there, and we love to fine grind and investigate it. But I believe that when it goes right for us, when things goes well, it's actually because we've gotten out of the way and we've let God be God in our life. We've let God be in charge. See, because if you look at those areas of life that really work well, somehow you've managed to get your personality self out of the way and let God be God. And remember that God's Spirit is the highest and the best within us. So I'm not talking about a power that's separate or apart from us. I'm talking about our true self, our higher self, the Spirit of God within us. And the truth is, to let go and let God is not easy. It's not easy for most of us. Like, can I possibly consider letting God be in charge of every moment? And for me, I think, well, no, I can't do that. This is what my human personality says. I can't do that, because what would happen to my life? what would happen to what I want? Well, here's what would happen. Here's what would really happen. You'd be happy. You'd be joyous. And you'd be free. I honestly think that we think that if I give God full sway over my life, if I invite God, Spirit, into every single area of my life, somehow I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose something that's really important to me. Well, that's crazy. That's crazy thinking. That's crazy talking. I'm here to tell you, just crazy. And it's time to have a greater notion of God. If you think that God is going to diminish you in any way, you have a puny, small-minded God. And just cash that God out right now. Get yourself a big, loving, abundant God. Because that's the God we have in the science of mind. Think of it like the Force in Star Wars, but add lots of love and intelligence to that. See, God does not want to limit us. That's not God. That's like, I don't know, maybe the 4th grade principal, you know. It's not God. God wants to fulfill us because God gets to be more of itself by means of our expression in the world. So it's not about restriction, it's about blossoming. See, our consciousness is actually being used for something higher. And I think we will always live in happiness and joy and freedom when we live in service to the creative genius that's within us. See, that's what Spirit is trying to express through us. And I believe that that's true. That there is a creative genius in every one of us, and we really want to live in service to that, because that's what Spirit is here and trying to do by means of us. Why would I not want such a great experience? And you know, actually I've been thinking about this a lot, and it seems to me that it really feels like a death to give up control. It does. Like, what would happen if we said goodbye to who we are, to who we used to be, and really opened up to all that we could be? And we're like, no, I'm not ready, I need another 6 months, oh God, I need another 6 years, or maybe 6 lifetimes, you know, I'm not ready. And the thing is, see, we have a lot of experience of our small self. And I know you know what I mean. That small, separate human personality self. And it's not as much, we don't have as much experience of our expanded divine self. See, I'm more familiar with the small me. I'm more comfortable with the small me, because I know it. I know it very, very well. And I resist sometimes. Actually, I do. I resist what I've been praying for. And truly, that's really a confession on my part. You know, I'm probably not the only one, but you know how when you pray and then you doubt and you say, oh, I gotta go back and I gotta pray some more, and then I affirm and then I doubt, and you know, it just goes on in a cycle? Well, that's really, really the small me. And that's the small me resisting what I have been praying for. But when we step into a larger expression of life, which I believe every single person is capable of doing, we are free. We get free. And so does everyone else, because the principle involved is we are all connected in the one mind. So when you do anything that lifts up your consciousness and makes your being more joyous and free, that actually is a blessing for all humanity, because all minds are connected. We teach that. Now, it seems to me that when we try and break through, there's usually a big lesson. You know, there's some growth opportunity, a trial. We might experience some depression. In enough pain, though, what I realize, at least for myself, is that we will actually really let go when we're in enough pain. And you know, there's also that pseudo kind of let go. Oh yes, I'm letting go. I'm just letting go of it all. Well, that's not really letting go. But when it hurts, it's like, you know what? I got to get out of this. I've got to get out of this. I don't care what the principles are that are involved here. I am willing to incorporate them into my life if I will get healed and free of this. And here's the thing. Every problem comes with bearing its own solution. We believe that. We teach that. It's like it says in our textbook, if God ever answers a prayer, God always answers a prayer. And so, I know, I get it. It can seem at times like we're powerless. We're powerless in front of the darkness. That I can't do this by myself. Well, Ernest teaches us in the textbook that there is a power for good in the universe, and you can use it. You can use that power to lift you up and out of conditions, to not be at the effect of circumstances. And you get to use that power to define your experience and say, regardless of what's happening out here, this is who I am. This is who I am as a spiritual being on earth. And the thing is, we get to feel it all. There's no shortcuts. People always ask me, well, if I'm so spiritual, and they're not talking about me, they're talking about themselves, if they're so spiritual. Why do I have these emotions that they don't like? Why do they have these bad feelings? And you know, the truth is, there's nothing enlightened about denying what you feel. In fact, the way to get over what you feel is to feel it. Imagine that. To feel it 100%, embrace it. I know it's not the truth, but this is what I'm feeling right now, and I've just got to feel it. And then once we've felt it, then you're free to move on. But if we spend all of our time denying it and denying it, no, I'm not sad, I'm not sad, I'm not in grief, I'm not lonely, I'm not this, I'm not that, then it's what you resist persists. So now, everybody gets their own life curriculum. Everyone gets a curriculum that's filled with, at least it seems to me, it's filled with joys and infinite possibilities. And also, maybe some challenges. But you know, I was thinking about this, and I first heard this years ago, in fact, decades ago, when I first came into metaphysics. And I've always loved it. I've always loved this analogy. That an oyster will get a grain of sand inside the oyster. And that grain of sand acts like as an irritant to the oyster. And what the oyster does is the oyster makes a pearl out of that grain of sand. And I think this is what we're supposed to do. This is what we're supposed to do when a growth opportunity comes into our life. We're supposed to work on that spiritually. And we pray, and we meditate, and we forgive, and we do Thanksgiving, and all of those practices that we do again and again and again to enable us to take the raw material of our life and turn it into a pearl. You know, crucifixion is always followed by resurrection. And I know for many of us, you know, we feel like we're in one big, big crucifixion with all that's going on in our world. But know that resurrection is coming, that the light always follows the dark night, that fear is always followed by love. And so I think like Jesus, we go through it with our hearts wide open. This is the challenge. Can I go through this with my heart wide open? And see, belonging to and having a community, I think, helps keep us afloat. And this is why it's so important, why coming to church is so important. We appreciate you all on Facebook, but it is important to be in the seats, connecting with like-minded people. That keeps us afloat in all that's going on in our world. And it seems to be going on more and more. So we want to stay centered. So come on in, get your butts back in the seats. So this is why when you talk to your friends and you're Zooming with people and stuff, you know, I mean, if you're doing that and can't be here, I mean, at least say, could you pray with me? Could you hold me in high regard? Can you know the truth for me? Can you say, hey, I'm thinking about you? See, just because something is challenging, it doesn't mean it's not what's supposed to happen, you know? And that's hard for our human selves to get, to understand. But really, that's what gets us into the place where those challenges are less and less and less, to the point where they don't even grow anymore, because we do our spiritual work around those challenges. I think of it like this. When I first came into metaphysics, my life was very much a series of highs, great highs, and horrific lows. And I'd go from a really horrible, horrible low to the next great big high, and then another low after a high. And it was a lot of that ping-pongy thing. Now, after a lot of time with the teaching and the practice, I find that I don't go as high. And I certainly don't go as low. I'm kind of like middle high. And I mean, that's kind of where things operate for me. So ask yourself this question today. And I mean, really ask it. Does God need to suffer? And when you think about it, I think you'll logically come to say, no, of course not. God does not need to suffer. Then ask yourself the real question. And where is God? God is within me. Therefore, I do not need to suffer. I felt for a long time like things on earth are speeding up. Like the lessons are coming faster and faster and faster. And so I think, all right, we have everything we need within us to create a life that we absolutely love. And we have everything within us that we need to create a world that works for everyone. A world where there isn't violence, a world where there is acceptance and love, a world where we don't have COVID responses, where it just goes on and on and on. A world that works for everyone. And let's turn to that now. And let's pray. Let's just pray. So as we turn our attention inward for just a moment, remembering that we are surrounded and filled with God's infinite loving spirit, the spirit of the living God that's everywhere. It's right here. It's the most true, the most real thing about each and every one of us. We are each sons and daughters of the Most High God. And in this awareness of our connection, I speak the word for each and every one of us, that the way out is through. And I'm certain that we have everything we need within us. All of the spiritual resources, all of the love, all of the intelligence that we need to get the most out of each and every experience. To heal what needs to be healed in our life and step into our largeness. Into the largeness of spirit that we are. I know that we allow the creative genius within us to have full sway in our life. And that there's no area that we keep separate or apart from God, from spirit. Because we know that our life is the very life of God. So we include in our prayer today our family members and friends, parents and children, grandchildren, nieces and nephews, and everyone we love and hold near and dear. We see them in our mind's eye, and they are surrounded with a mantle of God's healing energy, a mantle of peace and love and abundance, every good thing. We let our prayer be a blessing in the world that we live in. So all that pulls at our attention, it's all those words of effect. Beyond that, we know there is a spiritual truth that is love. There is a spiritual truth that makes us free, and we embrace that. And so we bless our church. We bless all churches everywhere. We bless synagogues and temples and mosques and ashrams, all paths to God. Even those paths that don't look like paths, we bless them all. Because I know in this magnificent universal soup that we call life, it's all God, it's all good, and so it is.
Everybody falls sometimes. Gotta find the strength to rise from the